Your call has been forwarded to the automated upload system of
The American Drill Report.
At the tone, please record your message.
All right, so Robert Zyko, here's the premise. This is a new short form alternative podcast type thing that I'm working on where I call somebody in the community or who has excelled in this space with a given topic or question, and we talk for 5 to 15 minutes about something that they hopefully have a good perspective on. So if you're
Interesting.
ready, I've got a question for you.
My vocabulary is prep. No cursing. I promise.
Perfect. Well, this is going to seem kind of funny, but first question I think that everybody wants to know, and like we want a real answer. Why are you so good?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say I'm good. I'd say I'm persistent. I'd say when I was approaching the realm of good, I was just very persistent in my training and had a good routine down that in terms of preparing for competitions, and everything just clicked when it needed to click. So that's probably the closest answer you'll get to me admitting my skill of any sorts. But I I give all the credit to the training that I had when I was that I did when I was growing up.
Well, I uh, do feel compelled to mention that you are definitely still regarded as the greatest of all time by not an insignificant portion of this community. Um, but do you think that your experience with wrestling in any way shaped the practice or performance habits that you developed with drill over time?
Oh, absolutely. I always wrestling was like my sport. So that was the thing that I dedicated a lot of my body to. Unfortunately, I'm feeling those side effects as I approach the age of 33. But it gave me the physical stamina. It also gave me the mental discipline to push through. Um, when practices didn't go the way I wanted them to go, wrestling was kind of like the background for that mental toughness. And for me, drill has always been my way of having fun. My expression, my artistic expression. So absolutely, wrestling has been. I'm actually on my way to coaching wrestling right now, but it's been such a huge aspect of my life, and it's only enabled me to be a better performer with the rifle.
Okay, so you mentioned drill being more of a endeavor of artistic expression. Do you feel that you found your solo title incidentally through um, just the right uh, timing and presentation of your artistic expression, or would you say that you pursued that title differently than you pursued just a fun routine?
Uh, I would say the former. Whenever I performed, it was largely, I say, because there were times where my competitive edge from wrestling would stick out, but for the most part, my performance, my routines were all strictly designed just to get the crowd to go ooh and ah. It was me trying to entertain more than it was to actually win anything. I never really cared about winning competitions. I cared about throwing, the most difficult, challenging routine. A lot of the moves that I used to work, a lot of the segments I used to work, a lot of the times when I was performing with them, I was not very hopeful they were going to actually work, and I just threw caution to the wind and was like, well, the crowd's going to love this. I'm going to go for it.
Well, that is an excellent philosophy to have. And I think that a lot of us are very glad that you got the title that you did because it kind of validated the obvious truth that the rest of us knew, which is you're so good, you need to get nerfed. But Would would you or do you plan on coming back? Do you plan on doing more solos or even tandem or group?
So I just got back from my second deployment. I was out in the Middle East. Now that I'm back, I have acquired, ironically, my 2017 rifle is still out and about. I got to get the rust off it, but it's functional in our aspect. I don't plan on competing anymore. I still have that desire to drill and perform. Not entirely sure what that'll manifest in. Um, I think I think most likely it'll probably manifest in something that you'll see, at like a Daytona Awards or like an intermission type of just fun performance. Because my routines, anything I've been working on hasn't been for, criterias for scorecards. It's been for how can I innovate or how can I continue to enhance drill and like to expand the vocabulary. Um, and for me, I guess that the simplest way is to, well, I could just show people, you know, it's nice that people still think I got it, but it's more so like, oh, that's an interesting new concept. I wouldn't have thought of that. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now is if I do perform, it'll be some kind of specialized performance. I've even flirted the idea of just recording solos and pushing them out there with some titles and some background on it, just to get people to open their minds a little bit more. Kind of just put more. What do they say in the military? Put more tools in your duffel bag or something like that.
Okay. Well, if you're looking at pursuing more of a role in the performance space over the competition space, then I've got some things to send you and talk to you about outside of this call. But that's all very exciting to hear. Um, yeah, I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of people just itching for more Rob Zyko, and like we don't really care what form it comes in, just please more. The For anybody listening that hasn't experienced or seen it, you did a project a few years back called 100 Days of Zyko, which is where 100 days in a row you basically put a camera on a tripod in the backyard and then would just drill for however many minutes and just spit the coolest moves consecutively for 3 to 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah, it was kind of like my way of doing like a drill encyclopedia. Obviously before all the things Adam was doing, before all these resources for drillers. Like my resources when I was growing up, right, was YouTube the phrase rifle spinning and see what happens. And I would watch the same 5 or 6 videos at nauseum, and I would just try to copy. And then as I got more comfortable, I would try to develop. And that's kind of how that started was just start off with some fundamentals, things, those little things, those little techniques that overall make a routine better. And then towards the end of it, largely in part because I was running out of ideas, I was like, well, let's see if this works. And then I just turned the camera on.
Well, that is, I think, to this day, one of the coolest compendiums of any individual's abilities, because I always encourage people to record every practice because sometimes really cool things happen. And like a few weeks back, I was drilling with Jackson and he threw whatever, and the blade cut all the way down into this thin little crack of the concrete and stuck the rifle vertically on a giant concrete pad, like out where RCDC is. It's a big
Mhm.
old concrete area, and somehow he found this tiny little sliver of a soft spot to bury the bayonet, and it was really, really cool. And we were not recording, and that would have been the coolest thing to have on video. Um,
Oh, sure.
I always tell people to record practice, but to be clear, I don't. Um, but yeah, that was a really cool compendium that you had put together. So In whatever capacity, we are all very excited to see more. Um, do you have any final / closing thoughts for why you're so good, how other people can get good, or what it means to be good?
Well, I could say, if you're going to go out there and perform, it's important that you have fun first and foremost. If you're doing something and you don't like it, or you feel lost when you do it, that shouldn't be that shouldn't be motivation. Like there should be you're doing something because you love to do it. And if you want to excel at it, you got to be consistent with your practicing. Or even if you're doing workouts that don't pertain to drill, try and find a way to incorporate them. I didn't think wrestling at first was going to help me with drill, and it did help me learn, I could do front flips and stuff, right? And then I started playing around with those ideas and cartwheels and all that nonsense. So you can always find a way to tie something in your life to drill that brings like an extra, I guess, kind of zest to the way you perform.
Preach. All right. Well, all good stuff, all good thoughts. I'm going to send you some things offline. Thanks for talking to me, and I'll let you know whenever this is up and posted.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Stay dialed in. You could be the next call.